Happy Sunday. Welcome to Navigating the Gap with Renee. I'm Renee. And today I have a special guest, Ria, who is my baby sister. And welcome to Navigating the Gap, Ria. I'm so glad you're here with me today. How you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me, and I am glad to be here with you today too.
Okay, well, we're going to jump right in it. And I'm going to give you a challenge because I know you don't necessarily like talking so much about yourself, but I'm going to challenge you to imagine you walked up to someone or you're in a room and you have to tell people at least three things about yourself that today is important. What would those three things? Introduce yourself in that way.
Okay. Hi, my name is Ria Johnson. I am a mother, I am a minister, and I am an entrepreneur.
Lovely. Short, sweet, to the point, but covering all the points. I like it. I like it. So today is a great topic. We're going to talk about the pivot and time for a pivot. Are we are you too old for a pivot? And yeah, kind of like does there come a point when a pivot is not even possible? I mean, the impossible pivot is what we'll also say. So before we get started, I just like to tell people what the gap is, and navigating the gap really has to do with your mindset. It's like between your brain, right between your ears, how we think about ourselves, and when we go from um, uncertainty, just being unsure about what's happening, what do we need to do, where are we going, and we go through this process. People always say, enjoy the process. You go through this process from uncertainty to, and you move through, hopefully in a nice, speedy way, to clarity. And once you get to clarity, you're going to get to ownership, responsibility. And then finally, you get to action and you get to make choices and take action that matter for you. And so that is navigating the gap. And you can throw any subject in that basket of in that space and talk about navigating the gap of that thing. So I'm going to throw in something that I think is kind of funny, but my navigating the gap or my pivot this week was that I had to pivot and share at age 62. Yes, I'm telling the age. I had to share a new phone number with family and friends. And I mean, it's not really a new phone number. It's a phone number that I always had, but people just don't use it for whatever reason. And what is so like hilarious to me is how, which I thought I was the only person that was like screening calls. Like if I don't know your number, I'm not answering the call. Or if I don't recognize who sent me, if you send me a text message and I don't have any other text messages from you, and you're like, hey, how's your day? Automatically, you're like in a different country and you're trying to scam me. So I'm not responding. So I got like six of my friends who responded like that. Like literally I had to say, "Oh wait, this is Renee." Like because they haven't used my actual number in so long, like years, that when I reached out and said, "Hey, use my number. Like start using my real number again." Like they were just it was hilarious. Like one said, "Girl, I was about to block you." Literally. I didn't know who this was. Somebody sent me an email and said, "Did you send me like to tell me to start?" Like they are, everybody is like investigating, and I don't know if it's because of our, our age, but no one. And I think I might have I sent a message to my nephew, and he said, "Aunt Renee, I have used the other number for you since I was a teenager." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, that I it was just like hilarious." It's like, "Yep, Yep. Change is like whatever the change. Like somebody might say, "Oh, that's a small change," but it's change, and change is change. And so, yeah, that was kind of like interesting. That was a pivot for me this week, and hey. I survived. And even my friends, even though we're all like screening calls and blocking numbers like within seconds, I think I got the message through to everybody. So that was my pivot this week. So we're gonna like move on past that. And I'm gonna ask you about your pivot, Ria. So you've done something recently that, in my opinion, is very amazing and I love it. I personally have benefited from it because you've been Caden, my son's vision sponsor for his business. He started a business when he was 4.5 years old, and him and Aunt Ria have been putting their heads together all of these over these years, and just like coming up with designs for T-shirts, coming up with designs for teddy bears, for pillows. Like they like his theme is kind of comfort and support. Like the name of his business is Loved and Protected. So they've they've collaborated on a lot of designs. So I love that for him and his business. Um, but today we get to talk to Ria about how she is now expanding her business, and she is being a vision sponsor for other people. And they're like entrepreneurs and churches and families, and all kinds of people are getting to benefit from your gift of being a vision sponsor. And so I wanted to start with a question that says, was there a moment, like a specific moment, when you realized staying where you were was riskier than making the jump? And what did that feel like in real time?
Um, yes, yes, there was, and um, the moment that I realized, for honestly, and you're talking real time, so right now I'm in the process of rebranding. And the moment that I realized that it was riskier not to take the leap was maybe 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, something like that. And what here's the risk, I'm going over it like I know I can do this. I know I can do this. But if I don't, I'll never know what it could be. I have the ideas in here, and like you say, even working with my favorite boss, and I do call him the boss, because I was his employee, auntie, but still, just sitting and having those collabs, and when I talk to other people in my mind, I can say, oh, okay, well, this is what I see. And if you put this together or put this color with that or have this here, and if I don't do it, if I sit on the potential, I'll never know. So I'm like, why not take the risk? What do I have to lose by taking the risk? So that was the real question. It was more so, what will I be losing out on if I don't take the risk? I might
Yeah.
as well, because if I don't take the risk, I'll never know. If I take it and succeed, then I succeed. If I take the risk and it doesn't come to what I think it should, at least I've worked on it. And then I'm not in that same spot. I can always risk it again. I can always, revamp, revise, do something. The biggest risk is not doing anything at all, in my
Okay.
opinion.
Yes. Now let me stop you here and say this is amazing what you're sharing. It's so powerful. You can make a T-shirt for it because that's what you do best. Create a T-shirt about that, about risk and why why is it so important to not leave that on the table and run with it? But let me ask you, when was it, when did it become action for you? Because you've been working with as the vision sponsor for, I don't know, 6, 7 years. You've had the vision, you've been that vision sponsor for quite some time, kind of low key. So what has made you now say, I'm not going to hide, I'm not going to hold back, I'm out here, I'm going to help people, and this is my offering, as the vision sponsor? What has pushed you to jump, to get out there and do it for others?
This leap now is just where life has landed me. Um, you know, I've been in the same field. I was a medical coder for 21 years. The last 2.5, 3 years, we were, well, caretakers for, our parents.
Yeah.
So though I was creating and making t-shirts and other things, the print business, it was the side hustle, the side gig. And then
Yeah.
when life turned everything around, and it was literally the 9 to 5 and then home, um, then it was really, the side gig was even more so on the side.
Yeah.
Well, life changed last year.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm no longer a medical coder,
Okay.
and I'm no longer a caregiver for, my parents.
Wow.
So yeah. So that, and later on last year, October, November, somewhere around then, more like November, December, I had to make the decision. It's like, okay, am I going to step back up to this, or am I just going to leave the potential on the table?
Nice. I love that.
And I decided that it's time to step up. So the real pivot started about December of 2025. And once my mind caught on to that, I realized, okay, I'm not, it's almost like the, how scripture says you don't put new wine in the old wineskin,
Right.
which is why now it's a revamp.
Yeah.
This is fresh, this is new, but it's still what I do.
I love it. Oh, this is fresh, this is new, but it's still what I do. Was that a t-shirt?
It's a t-shirt.
Everything is a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt. This is fresh, this is new, but it's what I do. Is that what you said?
But it's still
It's
what I
still
do.
what I do. Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. So, okay, so this is all. That's my chair. Sorry, it has this weird sound. But I wanted you to share, now that you've made the pivot, like you're full on handling, doing what you know that is part of your assignment to do in life, and I love the part where you were saying how so much changed last year. I mean, I think everybody has something that is just, that stops you in your tracks. Everything, there's something in people's lives. If we listen to each other closely, people have things that happen in their lives, like a tragedy, a loss. They're always talking about grief, but grief is not, grief is for people, but grief is for situations, grief is for, and it can really get you stuck. It cannot make you want to say, hey, I'm going to pivot and start this new thing. How did you not allow the grief, of losing your parents, of changing roles professionally, of just so many shifts? Like, there was so many shifts last year, and I just happen to know some because I'm your sister. But how did you pivot and keep and start rolling forward, is what I'm just like my question.
Um, well, I also have someone that I have worked with for years, um, Nazer, who, that person that pushes you to do what it is that's already inside of you. She's not giving you what to do, but she pushes you to do what's inside of you. So that in my community, I use tools that I have learned where I did not rush grief, and there was
Love that.
a boatload of grief last year.
And
Um, but
and
I
still today.
and still
Mhm.
it is absolutely
Yeah.
still. Um, but what I have learned is that I did not sit on it, but almost immediately I I started processing, and the process is still going on.
Absolutely.
You know, it is an ongoing thing. But what one of the big takeaways from that is, the process doesn't still go on if you don't at least start the process.
Ooh.
So I started the process, and we honestly started the process very early. And I'll be honest, I was like, this chick is crazy. Like, no, I don't want to,
I
so
know. I know.
I didn't necessarily go kicking and screaming, but I did go kind of with my hands over my eyes, like, I'm not, no, but I'm glad.
So
I'm
we should
glad
say what
because
that is though. We should pause for a second and talk about what
uh,
exactly are you referring to that you didn't want to do and you went kicking and screaming.
wait, grief counseling. We started grief counseling 3 weeks.
I think so.
2 weeks. It
Yeah.
was literally. It was not. There was not a great stretch of time where most that even that we started our counseling with, because it was a group,
Yeah.
um maybe 6 months, they were in the first year. So we're like, yeah, 3 weeks ago, it's new, fresh.
Yeah.
We're still processing, we're still going through it.
Yeah.
But by bringing that on early, um it really did make a huge difference. So 4 months later, when the career is no longer the career, so now I have no normal.
Right.
There was absolutely no normal. And I'm telling you, when you get up for 22 years, because I worked at my job before they hired me, this whole story anyway, and
Amazing.
do the
Amazing
same
story.
exact thing.
Yeah.
And it is, but it's when you do that same thing
Yeah.
for 22 years, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I could literally do it. Muscle memory is what I believe they call it. Like, I knew how to handle that. I knew how to do my job. I knew what it was. I worked 10 hours a day, four days a week for 20 whatever year. So
Yeah.
all of that is now gone. But that starting the counseling really, as I learned to process the grief of actual death,
Yeah.
um, I was able to take the tools that I was learning and use them in the grief of, you know, losing that part of life. It's like, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? It's your job. It is. But it was a part of my life
Hmm.
that I was now no longer experiencing.
Hmm.
And because I had these tools, because the tools were in place, because I was using the tools, all of this is stacking up.
Yeah.
It didn't take me long to say, wait, if I'm not doing that and I'm not doing that, this, what was side hustle that was put on a shelf, and
Right.
it wasn't dusty,
No.
because I was using it here, I
Doing
was
it.
using it there,
Yeah.
but it was literally on the shelf. It couldn't be front and center, couldn't be my first love, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean. It couldn't even get my all of my attention because I had, so many things in front of it. Well, now I was able to set it on the table right in front of me. What are you going to
I love
do?
that. I love that. And you didn't, obviously you didn't let it sit on the table. You literally
Well,
went on ahead and jumped in and did something about it. And all along, even though not being caregiver to your parents, you immediately started caring for your nephew and taking care of other people. And so I think all, like, it was like a bunch of things all put together, but they all equal movement, some sort of movement,
yeah,
something healthy,
absolutely.
something healthy. And I love that for you. So, what do you want us to know about how we can support your business? Like, where are you in the business right now? What should we look for? What do we should expect? Tell us the name of the business. Let's start there.
The name of the business is Promiseware Creations.
Woohoo! I love it. I love that
Woohoo!
name.
Yes, yes. And excuse me, that's important because the name is important to me. And that is because the teas that I create from my line are Promiseware. They are like this month's feature is So Loved,
Mm-hmm.
and it's based off of John 3:16.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you'll find with my creations, that they are the promises of God, and it's something that I wholeheartedly believe that everyone really, no matter what part of life, when everything is going great, shining, and the birds are singing,
Right.
you still can be encouraged with the promises of God. So that's where
Absolutely.
Promiseware Creations was birthed from. Right now, like I said, I am rebranding. The store is coming, the shop is coming. But right now, when you see me post, because I am absolutely stepping out of my comfort zone, and
Yes, indeed.
once coming to the forefront on social media, on my platforms, um, Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and
Oh
all
my
the
God.
things.
You're all over there. You're on all those
Uh,
sites.
I am on
You,
all those
Ria?
sites.
You?
Yes,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
So you want to support me? Come on over, share, all those things. And I will be telling my story. I will be telling more about me and my excitement for Promiseware, and for whoever will have Promiseware, um, you know, however they choose to support the business.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now, everything that you see, of course, you can get it. Again, this, the website, or the shop and everything is coming. But send me a message, text me if you have my number, DM me if you don't, and I'm telling you, I can get it to you. You can
So
wear
tell me,
your
what is your, you said text you, or, well, text you. Okay. We're not putting that up, but you said DM. So how can they get
mhm,
you? What is that? Instagram? Like what is that? Is that Instagram you want them to DM?
Instagram.
What
If
is
you're
that?
on
Is
Instagram, you
that your
can
full
always
name?
find me.
Sorry, I'm cutting you off because that's what I do. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
cutting you
yeah.
off. Oh, yes. So,
So we,
all right. Go ahead and
so
finish your statement
your
and then tell
your
me.
question was, I did not hear you though, because we were both talking.
Yes, we were. I said, you said Instagram, you said DM, you were saying all this, but I wanted to put it in so people can see it on the screen. Now, what is your handle?
Which is what I was saying before. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Um, so
whatever.
so on Instagram, you can still find me under Ria's Royal Print. You can find me under Missy Ria,
Oh, Missy Ria? Okay, I didn't know that.
Missy Ria J. Yes,
Okay.
because at one point I was a missionary.
Oh, is that missionary Rhea J? I thought it was like Missy, like you
No,
grown Miss.
MSSY, missionary Rhea J.
Well, you
But
still are missionary.
MSSY.
You're not still. You still are missionary, aren't
Oh,
you?
I'm always gonna be a missionary. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Wait. I'll put it
Um,
up there. Let me just see. Okay, there it is. Missy Rhea J. All right.
yes. Facebook, Rhea Johnson. TikTok, Rhea Johnson 54. Um, but yeah, come along, follow me, like, hit a heart, give me a comment or two. I love to see the encouragement. And like I said, because I'm out of my comfort zone, but I'm absolutely going to do what I have to do because I believe in, what I'm doing in the product that I have.
Now, is that promise wear that you're wearing today?
It is promise wear. Yes. I'm not
What
sure
does
if you
that
can see
say?
it.
I can't see all. I see the top that says black. Oh, Black History. Nice.
Which I am. But
Yes, you.
no, Black History, yes. Um, yeah.
I love it. So I'm saying that to say you don't just you do like vision sponsors specifically for entrepreneurs, business, like for business minded people who just want product for their own mission, their own
I
vision.
did.
But you also do um some other like more generic things that are just like inspirational to you and others.
Well, that's why I made the difference is my line, which are my designs that I create. But when you hear you talk about vision sponsor, you have your business, you have a conference, you have maybe you just have an idea like, oh, that's a t-shirt. I want that on a t-shirt. We talk about it. Let's design it and let's get it together for you. That's where, that's how I got the name, the vision sponsor, because just out of some conversations, I'm like, okay, this is what I see.
Yeah.
And we put it together and we have your vision on a mug or a t-shirt, or hey, we can put it on a bumper sticker if that's what you want. But, we get it together.
Yeah, I love that. I think that people, especially like small business people or people who are creatives as well, to have someone who is able to actually hear their vision, like really hear what they're saying, hear what's important to them, and then be able to develop something and they feel supported in their vision. Not like you're like, this is
Right.
what you should, I think you should do, but you're saying, no, this is what I hear you saying. And this is
Yeah.
what and I can say, even for as an example, I can remember my son Caden, who Rhea is his vision sponsor since he was a little guy. His first idea was he kept saying like his first idea about a t-shirt was muscles, the muscle arms, like the muscle arms of a man, and that's what he wanted his first t-shirt to be. And I guess I'm gonna have to post it again, but his first t-shirt were like two muscle arms, and in the middle of the muscle arms it said loved and protected. And I mean, he rocked that t-shirt and sold that
Yeah.
t-shirt for, well, Rhea was his sponsor, so she sponsored it. He's a nonprofit. She created it, sponsored it by her business, and he was able to provide it to the community, and lots of people
Yeah.
rocked that t-shirt for a long time. And even daddy loved the muscles. Wait, the
Yeah, yeah.
muscles went from the loved and protected muscles, and then the picture that I came across yesterday was the goat, where it was the he had went to the school and they created the muscle T-shirt, but they put the GOAT
Greatest
and,
of all
and
times.
yeah, it's greatest of all time. And somehow Daddy got a hold of that, and he was rocking the muscles and the greatest of all times. It's still hilarious today, but yeah. So when you have an idea, you want somebody that's going to listen to you, and that's what you do. That's one of your strong points that I think a lot of people are looking for if they want to say, oh, what's different about this T-shirt business and someone else's. You have someone that really hears listens to
Yes.
what you're saying, and develops product along with you. And I think that's the beauty, one of the beautiful points of it. So, okay.
Okay.
Anything else you want to share before we go? Because we're about to go.
No, just again, look me up and come along for the ride.
Hey, come on, take a
I
ride.
know. You know
That's
that's Caden's
old.
song, right?
Nobody knows that. Well, Caden knows it because his mom is 1,000 years old, and I made him listen to all of the Curtis Blow and Rick James. Like he knows the rap songs from when they was Curtis Blow like the first rap song ever. Like literally,
Okay.
he knows Sugar Hill Gang. He knows all the words, and he shouldn't, but he doesn't know he should. He doesn't. He's like, oh, doesn't everybody know this? So
Okay.
anyway, so this has been a great conversation. I'm glad you joined us on navigating
Thank you.
the gap today. And in navigating the gap, we always have been up until we talk about a lot of different topics, and we always talk about one of my heart passion topics is autism in real time, and love always wanting to. We've had some really great people on recently, dropping some wisdom around um, autism, children on the spectrum, family members um, in that area, like having to live through that every single day and what that looks like every single day. And it looks different for everybody. But I like getting tips. I've learned so much from watching like social media personally. Um, in the last 2 or 3 years, I've seen a lot of older adults, young adults, who are now using their voice and saying, "Hey, if there was something that I would want someone to know about a person that has autism or about me, is I would want them to ask me directly." That was something that I learned on social media, where a young man was giving us tips about how he wanted people to talk. Don't ask me don't tell me to do something. He said, ask me to do it. And don't assume that I can't do it. He said, ask me, are you able to do it? And then if I need help, I can let you know I need help. And so that was very helpful to me as a mom, because I was like, get up and go do such and such, or what time are you gonna do, like, can't, like, we gotta go, we gotta do this, I'm like come on, the end goal. But learning to ask differently was a very powerful tool, because then I could say, I changed my conversation based off of that information. I began to say, are you able to get up and be ready by 10 o'clock today? Are you able to? Which gave him a chance to say, yes, I can do that. Or yes, I'll be up. And then sometimes it was no. Then I knew what I was dealing with. But before, when I was just like, we got to go, you got to do this, I wasn't considering how he was processing that and what that sounded like to him. It sounded like torture to him. It sounded like, who do you think you are, just telling me what to do? Versus me just changing a few tone and how I said, to say, are you able to get up for school today? I think you have a test on Tuesday, or whatever. Like, just changing how I said it based off of that information. And so, Ria, and even this weekend you did it. I want you to talk about the what you do for our guy, for Corey, with the words on the back of his shirts.
Oh, okay. So this weekend we went to support Corey's cousin, who had a graduation celebration. So of course I made grad squad shirts. Well, what I know about Corey is that he does not like words on the front of his shirt. Not that he didn't want to support his cousins. So we all had our grad squad, and I put Corey's on the back of his shirt, which he had no problem wearing the shirt. But had it been on the front, that really would have been an issue for him. But because I know that, I was able to throw his on the back. He put it on and wore it happily. So, and I believe the other shirt, which he has a part of Loved and Protected,
Yes.
which we thought about a few years ago, because of course the kids love the hoodies, and Loved and Protected is prominent on the front of most hoodies. Well, the Corey, he has his own, line. And what we did was in a smaller print, just on the back, he still has, I am loved and protected, Psalms 23, but
Mhm.
it's on the back of his shirt and just a small part of the back of the hoodie. And well, I don't know if he still wears it, but he wore his hoodie for a very long time.
Yeah.
Whereas before, when we would go out, especially on brand,
Yeah.
Corey did not want to wear it. And I was like, why? Why doesn't he? But what I realized was he doesn't like the big words on the front of his shirt.
All that attention drawn.
Yeah.
It's like absolutely.
So, just a simple knowing, seeing and recognizing, because it's not about knowing, because we don't know any of it, but seeing and recognizing how he thinks and what's best for him. Again, it just took all of the fight and the bite out of all of it by simply taking the big show and tell on the front and
Absolutely.
putting it on his back.
Oh yeah. And the beauty of that is someone might think that that is so small, but we're saying the difference between participating. I mean, we're like as a family going out and doing these vendor events, and all of us have our we have our shirts and we have our logos. Everybody is we're matching up in some way. And he would literally be like, yeah, peace, I'm not going. Like he literally was not. And he loves what Loved and Protected does, and he enjoyed participating, but in his mind that was a deal breaker, and we didn't know it was a deal breaker. He didn't tell us it was a deal breaker, and somehow Rhea just like figured it out and was just like, okay, wait, let me try something different for Corey. And to the point where she made a line like we didn't because it doesn't mean like everybody that's on the spectrum and that's important to them, but maybe somebody else might. So she has on her website, which is under works right now, that it will come back up. But she has the t-shirts and he loves a hoodie. If you ever want to know what to get Corey, go on and give him a really good hoodie. Now I haven't gotten the weighted hoodies yet, but what he does is he loves a hoodie with a good hood open. So when she started making the word smaller, so around the top of his hoodie, it has love and protection. But when he throws it on, you can't see it. It's small. And then on the back of his shirt or on the back of his shoulder, where he doesn't need to see it, but he knows it's there. And so to me, that is autism in real time. That is us finding a way. So yesterday there was no fight. Like everybody, we all knew we had shirts all week. We were just like, okay, we know we're gonna have our shirts on and stuff. When he saw that shirt and the front of it was blank, he threw that thing on and kept it moving because he's just like, cool beans. I am not trying to walk around like y'all billboard. I don't care what y'all do. This is what I'm not doing. And so it has changed his involvement. He was in the car, he was at the graduation, he was participating. That shirt was not a problem. And any moms or dads or caregivers that are living autism in real time, and you can find a solution to to something that your child has, like for them it's a thing, you can find a solution for that thing. That's a win-win to me. So that is a win-win. So I want to say I really appreciate that, Rhea. And if there's any parents out there who might say, hey, I have a t-shirt or I have something that I would love for my child to wear, but they don't want any of that stuff on there, contact Rhea and she gets it. And it may be like you just want it on the sleeve. You just need it on the elbow. Or you just need it on the inside. I think didn't you make like, don't you have like a bubble a bubble print, so the letters are, you can feel the letters, and she put it on the bottom of the shirt. So she's doing all different kinds of things. But if in the line of our kiddos who have those like really really sweet special needs and requirements of us, they require that of us to figure it out and do better. And I love that she's done that for him. And so I just wanted to say that to you, Rhea, that is your vision sponsor is not, it's not like black and white. It has many different facets to it. And I know you can't tell it all today, but I'm glad you shared that part.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. So with that said, we have navigated this gap today, and we've talked about pivoting. I've pivoted, you've pivoted. We hope someone out there is encouraged to make a switch, a change. You're never too old unless you are literally in heaven, and then you don't need to pivot anymore. You have made the ultimate pivot. Okay, maybe death jokes. Maybe it's too soon. I don't know, but I'm just saying, let's all pivot while we still have breath in our lungs, and we can move on and make a change right around us with the people that are around us and that we love. So thanks, Rhea, for joining today. I really love it. I know that people are going to reach out and contact you. I'm excited about that for you. And have a good evening. Did you have final words? You can close this out.
Oh, no, just thank you for having me. I appreciate all of your support and for sharing me with your audience. Thank you.
Of course. Of course. All right, everyone. Have a good evening. See you next Sunday at 5 for Navigating the Gap. Good night.